All praises due to Allah. So, tell us something briefly about yourself, and then we gonna get started. Thank you.
Well, I'm from the East Coast. I grew up in New York. Um, I, my life is like a poster for baby boomer activism. I was kind of at many of the major events that marked the activist stage of the black community in the 60s and
Yes,
70s. I
sir.
was there when '63 at the March on Washington. I was there in '64 with the first
Wow.
long hot summer riot in Harlem. I served in the Vietnam War. I
Yes,
was in
sir.
the service during the Vietnam conflict.
Yes,
I was in
sir.
the Black Panther Party in Jersey, and then I was in the Nation of Islam. Became an editor of Muhammad Speaks.
Wow.
That's how I wound up in Chicago. I got a call from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad himself, my
Praises
brother,
to Allah.
called me on the phone
All praises
and
to Allah.
asked me did I want to come help build a nation,
How you gonna?
and I've been in Chicago ever since.
Yeah.
And since I've been here, I've been doing journalism for a variety of publications. I was a columnist both for the Tribune and the Sun Times,
Yes.
um, and which was a unique distinction at the time. I think Vernon Jarrett later became a columnist for both.
Yes, sir.
But I was senior editor of In These Times
Wow.
magazine, and so that's kind of
Yes.
a
Yes.
snapshot
Yes, sir.
of my past.
Yeah, brother Salim. You know what? There's something that's going on right now. You know what? It's Obamacare. Obamacare has been passed, and the Supreme Court has already said that it is law abiding. But the U.S., I'm talking about the congressmen and senators that are Republican, want to take away the right of the people to get Obamacare to um, stop the shutdown in the government. What is your assessment of that?
Uh, Man, this is one of the most incredible incidents. One of the most incredible intragovernmental maneuvers that I can recall. I mean, here we have a small segment of the Republican Party.
Yes.
Um, the kamikaze wing, these Tea Party people who are actually um, completely thwarting the will of the electorate. I mean, the
Yes.
president was elected
Yes.
on running on Obamacare. I mean,
Yes, sir.
Obamacare was a part of the campaign. And so the entire national electorate had a chance, an opportunity to make its wishes known
Yes.
on that program,
Yes.
and the president won.
Yes, sir.
And now we have this intransigent wing of the Republicans acting as if they would rather perform a coup d'état in order to in order rather than allow the will of the people to be executed. And
Yes.
even though it's been very ineffective on their part, I mean it's such a futile gesture.
Yes, sir.
It's an indication of a political confusion and anger, and
Yes.
really derangement.
Yes.
I think a lot of these folks are deranged by Obama.
Yes, sir.
Um, they shouldn't be, but they are, and it's led them into some very strange political contortions, man.
Yes, sir.
And this is the only industrialized nation without a national healthcare system. People regard healthcare as something that is a natural part of human life,
Yes,
and
sir.
all societies have an obligation to ensure that their citizens do not um, suffer catastrophic
Yes.
losses because of their health, because of some accident, some
Yes,
medical
sir.
emergency.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
all industrial societies have made that provision, and this is the only society that has that distinction of being industrialized. In fact, um, at one point it was considered among the most industrialized, and yet we refuse to grant medical
Yes, sir.
service,
Yeah.
universal medical care to all of our citizens.
Okay, Brother Salim, you know what? Let me tell the people, first of all, this is a live show. You call in, and this will be on YouTube. We had all the
Well, Brother Salim, one of the things I want to ask you, how do you think this is going to affect the next election? Since those, because
That's a good question, man. Because the Speaker, the House Speaker Boehner, is trying to maintain his position as a speaker, and there are some very vulnerable Republicans in districts that they call purple that are on the verge of being, becoming blue, but are still primarily red. It's still Republican in nature, but they're on the verge of flipping, like in a lot of places in Virginia, for example, North Carolina, some districts in North Carolina. So many of the representatives of these districts are very vulnerable, and they can be flipped. These districts can be flipped to the Democratic side,
Yes.
And that would be, a very important transition for President Obama in the last years of his tenure, if he had a Democratic Congress.
Yes.
The Tea Party people, who are the primary, the intransigent wing, they call the kamikaze
Yes.
Republicans. Those folks are in safe districts. Those districts have been gerrymandered pretty tightly,
Yes.
so that they represent these Tea Party type folk.
Yes.
So they really have no political cost to pay.
Yes.
That's why they're so intransigent. They're not budging because they're getting rewarded for their rebellion.
Yes.
And for them it won't make that much difference.
Yes.
But for more vulnerable Republicans, I
Yes.
think they have something to fear.
Yes.
one thing I want to ask you, Saul Alinsky, one of the greatest organizers that there ever was.
That's right.
Saul Alinsky said, power runs on two poles, those who have people and those who have money. Those who have money can buy some of your insincere people. And I believe that they're also vulnerable because over 6 million people now have already registered for Obamacare.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
8 million, I think. I think it's 8 million up to.
Yeah. Brother,
That's right. I mean, that demonstrates the need and the interest in it. So it's a manifest refutation of the Republicans' rhetoric.
Yes.
They're saying that Obamacare is too confusing. People don't know what it is. They're not down with it. But as you point out, Alderman, the numbers beg to differ.
Yeah. Brother Salim, what's something that I forgot to ask you? Please tell us. I know you come on the radio and on iHeart Radio. Tell us what time you come on so the people.
I'm on Wednesdays from 7 to 9, and on Saturdays from 7 to 10.
Okay. And you're on Monday with Matt.
And Monday with Matt McGill,
Okay.
right? From
And how
7 to 8.
Okay, how to Matt and Perry, hey. But something else. We gonna come to a telephone call next. I would like to ask you something about Eric Snowden, okay, who turned in the information about
My hero.
about the government tapping in our telephone calls and monitoring our internet. Do you think it was justified for him to do that, or some secrets should be withheld so the enemies don't know? This half an hour
Well,
show. Okay. Go ahead.
Everything we know really about the intelligence agencies and the abuses of the intelligence agencies in this country, from COINTELPRO,
Yes.
all the way back to when during the days of Truman and Roosevelt, all of those things that we know about were revealed by whistleblowers, by people who weren't supposed. They had access to this information, and they weren't supposed to release it or to make it available to others.
Yes.
And they perceived this information as a threat
Yes.
to the constitutional principles of this country, and they considered it their duty to reveal this information. And so I welcome people like Edward Snowden.
Yes.
He's revealed some amazing information, man, that has astounded even long-term governmental officials. They had no idea that the spying was that extensive. That the NSA was that voracious in the way it was simply accumulating information on all Americans. It's incredible the scope of this spying information, and we're finding out that it wasn't simply wasn't just Americans.
Yes.
It was all over the world, and even our allies. We just saw an example where Brazil's president refused a diplomatic engagement with this country because of some of the information that was revealed by Snowden about how this country was spying on Brazil. Personal stuff between Dilma Rousseff, the president of Brazil, and a Brazilian company which is engaged in all kind of commerce. So it was kind of a corporate espionage as well that's involved in this. So man, this is some incredible stuff that Snowden helped reveal, and we'll forever be grateful for that.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, one of the things history, as Malcolm said, rewards all research, and NASA as they call it, and the all of that stuff was started by a group of people they brought here after World War II that were affiliated with Adolf Hitler. And they set up all of that stuff. The public doesn't know that, but you and I know that. You want to speak on that for a minute?
Absolutely. There was a great rush for German expertise, because the Germans, the Nazis, man, they had extraordinary knowledge of industrial production and aeronautics. A lot of the rocket technology that we have adopted really originated from a lot of these Nazi scientists, and so there was a great effort to recruit them and to enlist them and to drag them, into the Soviets were trying to do it, and they got a few, and we of course were trying to do it as well, and we got a few, and they were very influential in designing our military apparatus.
Yes,
absolutely
sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. Brother Salim, you know what, we have some telephone calls for you, so we'd be remiss if we don't get to the calls. But okay. So caller, go ahead and beat the drums for Brother Salim Muakil.
This is God country, and what y'all think about the politicians, man, trying to shut it down, the father of the United States? What y'all think about that?
Okay, for Brother Salim, go ahead. I don't know. Did you hear that, Brother Salim?
Well, one of the things while we're waiting for Brother...
Hello?
Yeah, what did you think about that, Brother Salim?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. We got your question. We just...
Okay, I think the guy I think he hung up.
Oh, he hung up?
No, we might have lost the call.
Right, he might be on a cell phone.
But I'll deal with that
till
we get him back.
Yeah.
Hello?
I think that what you ask about, all right, is something that they're forgetting. I told you, we are the people. They work for us. We don't work for them.
Okay. Brother Salim, we had some technical problems, but
okay,
you know what his question was, what do you think about the government
trying to use that to shut down, all right, the politicians, as he said. I call them the probably tricksters.
Go ahead. What do you think?
What was the question? I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
About them using Obamacare, or better yet, the Affordable Care Act, all right, to try to use that to shut down the government.
Again, we have to keep in mind that the government is the enemy of the Tea Party. They don't care. That is absolutely their goal. First, there was a sequestration earlier in January that cut off enormous amounts of funds that we've kind of forgotten about. But that has crippled a lot of activity, a lot of governmental activity that has gone unreported. And then this governmental shutdown and the upcoming debt ceiling debate, all of that is an attempt by these obstructionists, these extremists, Tea Party extremists, to make the government as inefficient as they possibly can.
Yes,
because
sir.
it didn't even stop Obamacare. Obamacare is operating unhampered by this governmental shutdown. So the very purpose that they gave, the very motive that they gave for doing it, was ineffective.
Yeah.
And yet they're still going along with. They're still determined to shut this government down. They don't even know why.
No.
There's been some quotes in recent days about politicians who are saying we have to get something out of it. I don't know what,
Yes.
but we have to get something. They're completely clueless, man, on why they're doing this.
Yes,
they
sir.
simply want to be obstructionists and they want to prevent the government from acting in an efficient way.
Excuse
Then they
me.
can make their point about the uselessness of government.
Excuse me, Brother Salim. You got 2 more telephone calls.
Okay.
Caller, go ahead and beat the drums, caller. Go ahead.
Hey, gentlemen, how are you?
How you doing, sir?
We feel blessed.
I got a question for you. I'm researching the Obamacare, and Salim, I got a question for you. Now, is it true that this is mandatory insurance, and if a person doesn't have it, they'll get fined?
True. But the loophole in that is that there will be an attempt to tie the cost to you, whatever income you have, and the fine will be mediated and governmentally subsidized in many
Yes.
cases. So there's really no problem with that. But I think one of the points that you make, brother, is a good one. This Obamacare is really a handover to the private industry,
Yes.
to the insurance industry.
Yes.
It's in many ways a Republican program. It was designed by the Heritage Foundation.
Yes.
So it's market oriented. But even with those detriments, it is a heap better than what we had in the past. It's an attempt to provide medical care for the American people, something that we are sorely lacking in.
Okay, we got another telephone caller. This is a live show. Please call in. Go ahead and beat the drums, caller.
Hello?
Go ahead. We hear you.
I just want to start off by saying Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam,
Walaikum
sir.
salam.
My question was for the brothers, do you feel like Obamacare is in the best interest for the people, or is it another form of government control?
Tell her.
And it is a product of Tea Party propaganda. It is absolutely not government control. The only thing that the government had, and I wish it was more government control, man. I wish it was single payer insurance, so that the government had control of, and therefore there was no expense to the American people and no profits to the insurance agencies and to the insurance industry, because they're going to make enormous profits from this, and the medical establishment is going to expand geometrically. So it's not really government control. The government is operating these exchanges that try to link up people and adjust their needs with certain kinds of insurance policies. Compare them and to find the right mix and the right fit.
Okay.
That's going to be the government's role in all of this, and to equalize and regulate certain things.
Okay.
But that's the extent of it.
Okay.
The Republicans are trying to portray it as the government intruding between the doctor and the patient. No such thing.
Yes, sir.
Can I just say this right quickly? In 1973, they had hearings in Congress on the insurance industry. I would suggest that a person go back and get copies of that, because they covered them hearings up with Watergate, so people wouldn't pay attention.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah. Brother Salim, again, this is Brother Salim Muakil from WVON 1690 AM. And we have another caller. Go ahead and beat the drums. We're running out of time, but go ahead, caller. Guess we got to come to the next caller. Go ahead and beat the drums. Go ahead, we're listening.
Okay, I'm on the line.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum, good evening. I'd like to make a comment about the Affordable Care Act and the argument that they're using Republicans are using against this act. They're saying that young people this would not be a good deal for them, and they need young people in order for this program to work. But in this unnatural society, young people in a natural society look out after their elders, their older people. So this situation where they're trying to put the young against the old is an unnatural effect in this society. If we had a proper thinking of what society is, that argument would not hold up.
We got you.
Young people would be willing to aid older people and have medical care for all people. All people need medical care.
Okay, we're going to see what Brother Salim Muakil has to say about that.
Yeah, I think the brother's absolutely right. It is a balance with the young who don't need medical care as urgently often as elders do, as their seniors do, and generally they take care of the seniors at a time when the seniors are in need of that care, just as the seniors took care of them in their nurturing years. And in a society that is operating in an efficient way, that is exactly how it should operate, and there should be a lack of concern or lack of let's say there should be more sympathy for members of the society who are not as well equipped or well situated or don't have the kind of wherewithal, economic or cultural wherewithal as other members of the society. In a society that is regulated and operating efficiently, we would all be working for each other's best interests. But in a society that is based on the capitalist system and in a neoliberal society that we have descended in at this point, where the market is making all of the decisions. Profit is the leading value for the way a lot of people operate these days. And that kind of society, it's a dog-eat-dog situation. And people don't have that kind of sympathy or empathy for other members of their society, and especially when those other members have racial distinctions.
Yes, sir. Brother Salim, excuse me. We got two more calls. I want to try to get them in, but that's an excellent point. Caller, go ahead and beat the drums, caller. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm calling because of the fact that even those that are in favor of the Obamacare, they have mentioned that it has some flaws, and no one ever talks about the flaws. And I'm just wondering, people are leery of the unknown. How come, like Vice President Biden and Labor and the people that want health care for all don't identify with what the problems are and try to start addressing those problems?
Okay, thank you, Brother Salim.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, but they're marshaling all of their rhetorical, persuasive gunpowder toward the Republicans right now, because those are that's a major threat to the viability of the law. And so, rather than tinker with what is absolutely necessary for
you got 3 more minutes left
to perfect it, they have to make it. They have to go on the offense to stop the Republicans from mischaracterizing it.
Okay, but Brother Salim, we got 3 more minutes left. I can't believe this.
Man, time is.
But we're gonna take one more call. One more call. Go ahead and beat the drums. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yes, I would like to ask 2 questions. My first question is, like, with the Obamacare and you get penalized, but how are they going to penalize you and you can't find a job? How would that work?
Well, one of the things I helped Salim out, there's a $90,000 cap at the bottom. That they will be subsidized. So I hear you talking, sister. You don't make $90,000, I don't think. So you will be subsidized. So the penalty will be wiped out.
Okay, what's the next question? Okay, we got 2 minutes left. Brother Salim, do you have any finishing comments? And can you tell us when you come on again. I mean, we know you come on Mondays, but please, this is world audience, tell us, please.
Monday mornings at 7 o'clock from 7 to 9, I'm on with Matt McGill, and we generally discuss international affairs. That is, what we generally discuss, but we can wind up talking about anything. So it's usually a pretty lively period, and a lot of calls, and things go well. Then I come on again on Wednesday at 7 from 7 to 9, and then on Saturdays from 7 to 10.
Okay. I want to thank you, and we're going to see you on the flip side of things. And I want to thank you for coming on Underground Railroad TV show. And
well, I really appreciate the offer, brother, and I enjoyed it. And I'd like to come back again if at all possible.
Always.
Well, I'm glad to have you myself. But I tell you, one other person from VON I'd love to have is my queen, Perry Small.
Perry Small. Yes, sir.
It's like, what? My radio stays tuned to WVON, man. I mean, y'all.
Man, I'm telling you, brother, it's a rare station. If you go around the country, you'll find that we're taking it for granted. There's not this kind of media presence in other cities, and it's a rare thing that we need to treasure.
And I better say hi to Miss Melody Span. Who knows?
Absolutely.
She might be looking. She might hear about it.
Well, Melody Span is the queen mother.
There you go. That's right.
But you know what? Like I say, I enjoy you on Mondays, and like I say, I met you through Mark Sims. You know
Yes,
what?
sir.
That was a good show that you had with Mark Sims.
That's another powerful brother. I see him a lot at CAN TV.
Yes. But
and he has a big internet presence as well.
Oh.
That's a realm. I mean, that's something we should be doing more. YouTube, man. These brothers in New York, for example, man, they are making their presence very, very widespread and influential by their YouTube presentation.
Let me say assalamu alaikum to everybody, but we're going to see each other on the next side. This will be on YouTube. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
That was good.